Shalom and welcome to this week's Living Torah. And we made it through this past Sunday. It was interesting. I might have something to say on that here in a little while, but before I do, and I hope I'm not a little premature in this, but I've had a number of emails, texts, carrier pigeons, whatever, asking about Revive this year. Of course, Revive is going to be in Cleveland. It will be in August, not July 4th weekend, which has normally been. But many have been asking me if there's going to be if I will be there doing a young adult sessions. And at this point in time, it seems that the answer is no. I'm going to be, I have a phone call later in this week. So possibly by the time this video is actually out, I don't know. So if there's changes, I'll let you know as soon as possible. But at this point in time, it appears that they will be having the children's session, a youth session, and then the adult main sessions, which everybody can show up for. So that's just all I'm going to say about that. Regarding, we have of course April 8th coming up, and I'll let you know next week. I guess April 9th will be when I will be planning, Bezrat Hashem, God willing, with His help, I'll be planning to sit down and record. So if there's a video next week, well, I guess that nothing happened. If there's not a video next week, something did, and I'll try to put something out. I don't know. I'm not trying to make fun of it. These are serious days that we live in. And I see that there are a lot of things aligning right now. But as I said to Life Assembly this past Shabbat, I'm not going to begin to dissect the plagues, but instead look unto our redemption. So maybe that's just a good word for everyone. I hope so. This week we go into Vayikra, or Leviticus, chapter 9, verse 1 through chapter 11, verse 47. And it says, "On the 8th day, Moshe called Aaron and his sons and the leaders of Israel and said to Aaron," and it starts to go on from there. In order to understand the importance of this, and this is this is the Torah portion, another one of those Torah portions that people get kind of lost in. But if we understand what is being said here in the first words and the title of this Torah portion, it really, to me, is totally exciting, because, this puts everything in perspective. This puts wars and rumors of wars and earthquakes and famines and as I'm talking 179 days of war in Israel and eclipses and elections, it puts everything in perspective. And that is the word eighth, or Shemini. In order to understand the word or the meaning of eighth, we need to go back, and we need to go to 6 and 7. That makes sense, doesn't it? So let me just give you a very basic understanding that when we get to the words, the number 6 in Scripture is speaking of man, which is speaking of the physical reality. And I'm stealing some things. I want to go ahead and give credit where credit is due. Borrowing, because he's given me permission, of course. But a dear friend, Moshe Kempinski at Shorshim in Israel, in Jerusalem, he sent out his weekly Torah teaching today, and I was able to glean some things I thought were very, very important. So the number 6, we're talking about man. We also talk about this as a physical reality. We saw that in the tabernacle, in that there are 6 implements that are in the tabernacle, from the altar into the Holy of Holies, Kodesh Kodeshim, the Ark of the Covenant. There's 6 implements, but then there's that 7th element that is placed there, which is his Shekinah, his glory. So 6 is a number of the physical reality of what man can do. The number 7 is, of course, would point us to Shabbat, would point us to the millennium, the 7th day, but is also a number which we can look at it this way, of the revealed involvement of our Creator in this physical realm. We see that through the Yovel, through the Shabbat, through the circumcision on the 8th day. him entering the tabernacle on the 8th day. There's so many things that go to this. So it is about his physical, or his revealed involvement in our physical realm. This got me thinking this morning. Of course, I go off on little things in my own head, which a lot of times I don't share, which is probably best for you. But I got to thinking about, what was it like the first Shabbat in the garden with Adam and Hava? Have you ever thought about that? Maybe not, but I did. It just all of a sudden dawned on me that, Adam and Hava, they're like 24 hours old or less. And the 6th day, as we read it in Bereshit, was really, really busy. So they probably didn't have a lot of time from the the revelation of all, Adam naming all the animals, figuring out, wait a minute, where am I at, and I'm able to walk, and he looked like, they think he looked about 33 years old, something like that. He is created as an adult. And in that same day, here he looks and says, wait a minute, I'm alone. And then this rib comes forth, and there's his wife. And it's been a busy day. So the Shabbat is very much needed. And the Almighty the Creator comes into that setting on the 7th day. Can you imagine how the questions that were, why did you do this? Wait a minute, tell me again. And he's trying to get some understanding out of why he was created. So that's the 7th day. And of course, after that, the wheels fall off the bus. And then the 8th, the number 8, is that which is beyond our realm. All right, think about it. Well, not a good idea sometimes. As much as I teach on the 8th day and even the millennium, I really don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, because I think it's really too much, at least for my brain, to comprehend. So I think a little bit once in a while about, if I want to have a pet tiger or a pet lion, and, crazy things like that. But beyond that, I just believe that it's beyond my mental capabilities to even begin to understand what is going on there. To understand a little bit, though, we look at the root word. We've got to go down about 3 levels on this word from Shemini, and it is the word fat. Okay, I guess that means that on the 8th day in eternity, we're all going to be fat. No, it's what is there. And I likened it this morning as I looked at that word. I thought back to 2015. I was in Israel with a group, and there was the Prima King's Hotel had double booked us, and so in order that there could be a Jewish group there that was going to be attending a wedding at the Great Synagogue, these are irrelevant details, we accepted their offer for us to be moved for Shabbat over to the Crown Plaza, which is a beautiful hotel. And Prima King's is not bad, but Crown Plaza is like it. And so it's Shabbat, it's Friday evening, and we walked into the dining room, and I remember that being there for the first time in '98, but this banquet that was set, there's no way that anybody could have taste tested everything that was in that banquet. You would have been overwhelmed and absolutely would not have been able to put another bite in your mouth. From the meats to the salads to the vegetables to the breads, and then there was the dessert table, or tables, excuse me. I walked over to the dessert tables, and I saw laying there, having not been touched by anybody outside of the restaurant staff, the only way to talk about it is a slab of flan. Now, I love flan. One of the reasons because my grandmother made custard in these little tiny cups and these little glass dishes, and I could never get enough of it. And so, and I don't order at a restaurant because I'm cheap and I'm not paying that kind of price for that little tiny thing. But they had this slab of flan. It is like a foot long, about 5 inches wide, and about 1.5 to 2 inches thick. I almost made myself sick that night with that thing because it was the fat. It was the banquet. It was the dessert of all desserts. And this is after I went through all the other stuff. I look at this 8th day, this time that we have gone past this physical reality of what we have upon this earth today, of all the chaos and stupidity. And then we go to the millennium in which he will be ruling and reigning. The Torah will go forth from Jerusalem, the word from Mount Zion. I mean, that's going to be a great day. That is going to be when the revelation of his involvement has been. I mean, think about the 1,000 years of questioning that we're going to have of why did you allow Martin Luther to do what he did? And why the pogroms, and why Marcion, and why Constantine, and why? And he's going to be revealing his involvement through all of these things at a level that we haven't understood before. And then from there, we get to go into the banquet. I mean, beyond that 7th day, the only way I can describe this, and what keeps me from trying to dive into all of it, is I read the words of Shaul in Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, when he says, and he was given some kind of an insight into something that he didn't even understand, and he said, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, neither has it entered into the heart of man the things that the Almighty has prepared for us. So if you think that you got a handle on it, you've put yourself above Rav Shaul, the Apostle Paul himself. I'm not going there, okay? I think that there was revelations that he was given that I'm not even close to being able to figure out, okay? So that was his involvement in there. But then to bring us back to our physical reality and the earth, and again, my thanks to Moshe Kempinski, is that there are 2 psalms that bring out this same word. You don't see them in a search on Blue Letter Bible or something, because the word of Shemini is actually in the introduction. And so I'm sure you can find it, but it's not something you would normally see. And so in Psalm 6 is the first one, and it says in verse 1, for the leader with stringed instruments on Sheminit, a low-pitched musical instrument, a psalm of David. Now it is said that this is a special harp that has, and I did not check the reference here, but I trust my sources very well. So that it was an 8-stringed harp. So 8 strings. So what he was playing when he was writing this, when he was playing this psalm, he was actually looking forward to something that was in the future. Now let's just read the psalm together. And think about the 8th day as we're reading these 2 psalms right now. Adonai, don't rebuke me in your anger. Don't discipline me in the heat of your fury. Be gracious to me, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, because I am withering away. Heal me, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, because my bones are shaking. I am completely terrified, and you, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, how long? Come back, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, and rescue me. Save me for the sake of your grace. For in death no one remembers you, in Sheol who will praise you? I am worn out with groaning. All night I drench my bed in tears, flooding my couch till it swims. My vision is darkened with anger. It grows weak because of my foes. Get away from me, all you workers of iniquity or evil. For Yudhe-Vavhe has heard the sound of my weeping. Yudhe-Vavhe has heard my pleading. Yudhe-Vavhe will accept my prayer. All my enemies will be confounded, completely terrified, and they will turn back and be suddenly put to shame. Now, I've never laid awake all night drenching my bed in tears. I go to sleep pretty good, but I can understand this groaning. As we look around us today, it's springtime. Springtime is a beautiful, as I've said many times, it's my favorite time of year. I stand out and just watch as I see it's like the earth is coming alive again. But yet it's, according to the book of Romans, it's groaning, waiting for redemption. How beautiful is this earth going to be in the millennium? And well, for those of us who have given up we gave that one up too, of I'll fly away, O glory. But understanding that Psalm 115 tells us very clearly that the earth has been made for mankind, and we put in Isaiah 66 and various other places, and think about this, that we will be upon this earth. So for those that say the earth is going to be destroyed and all that stuff, they haven't read, I'll calm that down. They haven't read the scripture, because it says it will be a renewed earth, a renewed heavens, a renewed earth. The earth will be purified with fire, and you and I, as the three Hebrew children, Hebrew young adults, probably in the book of Daniel, we're going to go through that fire and not be singed in any way. Even our glorified body clothing, whatever that might be, is not even going to smell like smoke, because of that refining that's going to take place, restoring all things. Oh, wow. Consider what it's going to be. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard. We can't, you go to Walmart today or wherever, and you pick up a rose and it doesn't have any scent. It doesn't smell like anything anymore. It doesn't smell like a rose. It just has no smell at all. I mean, I remember growing up what a rose smelled like. Imagine what a rose will smell like in the millennium. Imagine what a sunset will look like then. Imagine what it will be. And then understand that you and I don't have that much imagination. And today, we yearn, we groan. We should be groaning along with creation. Now the other psalm is Psalm 12. For the leader on Sheminit, a low-pitched musical instrument, Psalm of David. Help, Yudhe-Vavhe, for no one godly is left. Wow, have you ever felt like that? The faithful have vanished from humankind. They all tell lies to each other, flattering with their lips, but speaking from divided hearts. You guys don't know how personal this is today. May Yudhe-Vavhe cut off all flattering lips and the tongue that speaks so proudly. Those who say, by our tongues we will prevail. Our lips are with us. Who can master us? Because the poor are oppressed, because the needy are groaning. I will rise up, says Yudhe-Vavhe, and grant security to those whom they scorn. The words of Yudhe-Vavhe are pure words, silver in a melting pot set in the earth, refined and purified 7 times over. What, 7? 7 times. So in the purifying of the silver, he's actually telling us that he is going to reveal his involvement in it. You, Yudhe-Vavhe, protect us. Guard us forever from this generation. The wicked strut about everywhere when vileness is held in general esteem. Vileness held in general esteem. You know, did anybody notice what was going on Sunday? Did anybody notice the political, I'm just going to say the political stuff that was happening? It wasn't political, it was demonic. the vile wickedness that is around us today. And here we have this Torah portion of Shemini, or eighth, which is telling us that there is going to be a banquet. There's going to be a fullness that is going to be far beyond anything you and I can ever imagine upon this earth. And as it was in that day, on the eighth day, he would fill it with his glory. And what would be the response of the people? It says in verse 24, fire came forth from the presence of unauthorized, consuming the burnt offering and the altar, the fat on the altar. When all the people saw it, they shouted and fell on their faces. I've been asked so many times, what do I think? What will it be like in that day? I think we're probably going to shout somewhere between a shout of excitement, a shout of overwhelming glory, and a shout of absolute fear. In fact, it may be that shout that kind of gets stuck in your throat and won't come out, because you're going to be so physically overcome. Even with a glorified body, you and I will be so physically overcome that we may not be able to get that shout. So it may be kind of muted as we're trying to figure out how to get it through that choked heart, because the only response we really have is to fall on our face and worship before him. That is going to be the greatest day. I think that is a day that we will learn what humility really is. Understanding that there was no reason for him to redeem Adam and Eve. There was no real explanation for why he did that, except an incredible love that you and I on this earth today cannot understand. There's no way for us to even begin to fathom that type. So what will it be on that day, that today? Okay, here is when it says today, I will reveal myself. This is back in verse 4. Because today, Yudhe-Vavhe, is going to appear to you. And their response was to shout and to fall on their faces. What will our today be? When we get to that point, beyond the 6th, beyond the 7th, and into that banquet, into that time that Revelation speaks about, what will our day be? I don't know. As the song says, I can only imagine. But until we get there, understanding that there's going to be issues, there's going to be failure, there's going to be failure in leadership. I saw a grievous post the other day, and this was, I think it was on Easter Sunday. It was 4 faces. One was Jim Baker. One was Jimmy Swaggart. One was, what's his name in Texas? Something. I'll remember it later on. Joel Osteen, yeah. And the other one was Kenneth Hagin or somebody. It was I can't remember who it was. Irrelevant. And the post above it said, and you want us to be happy about your salvation, which puts us in heaven with men like this? I'm not judging those men in this, in what I'm saying, which is why I didn't bring out the 4th one. But let's face it, I've been in ministry now for over 30 years. And the hardest thing has been living down what others have done. Think about it. Is that not the most difficult thing in your life? Trying to witness to someone, and you have to first of all dig out of a hole that somebody else dug. It's tragic. And again, I'm not judging the men that were in that post in any way, shape, or form. Okay, that's not my job to do upon this earth. But it is, when David fell with Bathsheba, he brought out in his psalm that, and I think that these are the words of Samuel as he came. What had David done? He had brought dishonor unto the name of the Almighty. What is it about these leaders, Nadab and Abihu? They brought dishonor in the camp. I don't know about you guys, but I just, and I know that I can't get around this at times. I'm human. I've got the same issues that other people do. I've got my own that others may not even have thought about. I am as flesh and blood as anybody out there. My desire, though, is to not bring dishonor to his name. I may fail at that, but there's never a time that I do anything that is on purpose, bringing dishonor unto his name. And that's what Nadab and Abihu did, and that's where it says the writings are that they brought unauthorized fire unto him, unto the tabernacle. We're not told what this is. There's, of course, speculation, and you can go online and you can figure out, this person said this and this person said that, and in the end, we don't know. And there's a reason why I feel that he did not tell us exactly what those words unauthorized fire were, because if he did, we would be able to say, well, I didn't do that. Well, I didn't do that, but yeah, you did that, okay? And both of those things brought about the same consequence. What was that consequence? It was that they were involved in something that was not sanctioned by the word. Unauthorized fire is when we are bringing something before him which is not sanctioned by his word. I go back to Easter. I did something kind of strange Easter morning since I didn't have anything other to do. And I'm not judging anybody on, this is something that each person has to deal with. Is it wrong for me to go out and be involved in something of Easter? Absolutely, it is wrong for me to do that. I'm not telling somebody else. I can explain to them. As I tried to do, I was playing golf, and I actually got involved with somebody else, and they said, you having a nice Easter? I said, well, I don't observe Easter, and okay. I said, Messiah was killed on Passover, which is still about 3 weeks from now. And so I don't know why, have you wondered why people are celebrating the resurrection 3 weeks before his execution would have been? And the person didn't even respond. Not a response. It's like, okay, well, I guess, you just don't want to know, all right? So if you don't want to know, well, that to me is a problem. But that's their problem. That's not my problem. I hope not. But I got out there Sunday morning and got caught up with a couple of guys who looked like they had been drinking quite a bit, and it was 9 o'clock in the morning. So, they wouldn't have been in the book of Acts. But they said, hey, go ahead and go on past us, and you're welcome to join us and everything. And the guy's standing there with a beer in his hand and wishing me a happy Easter. I just, at first, I kind of went, I was like, huh? I almost started to laugh, and then I just was grieved. I mean, just grieved to my bones that someone can have an understanding in their understanding of Easter, but yet be so probably put off by religion that they're that far away, and maybe they're closer to God than other people. I don't know. But see, when we partake in something that is not sanctioned, and this goes back and has been a part of the United States and Germany and other places and Rome, and I saw the Pope, who looks like he's being propped up. We got leaders out there that can't put two words together, and they're called leaders. I saw him kissing a crucifix that was being held up in front of him. It kissed its knee or something. It's like, I just grieved. I go back, these two Psalms that in Psalm 6 and Psalm 12, they just hit me so hard this morning, because this is where I feel we are at in this world. With the political things and you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it online because these videos are watched and you get sanctioned. I'm not afraid of that. I just don't want to be pushed off of media because of my own stupidity. But you know what's being pushed today, and I wonder how long is it going to be? And probably I, as well as you, question, where is his involvement? If he judged Sodom and Gomorrah, how far was it possible that they had gotten farther than we are today? I can't imagine what that might be. I don't want to imagine what that may be. I have grandchildren. I don't want to imagine something. You wonder, and you're grieved at the unauthorized fire that is being brought forth in his name. Move on from that. After Nadab and Abihu are killed, it says, this is what Yudhe said, through those who are near me I will be consecrated, and before all the people I will be glorified. Aaron is not even allowed to mourn his two sons because of what they did. That's another subject of its own. But then a goat is offered. An animal is offered, and you can read the account here. And it says, and I actually talked to another Moshe this morning in Israel to try to get some handle on this, of that this offering, part of it was supposed to be consumed, but it wasn't consumed. The whole thing was burnt up. And after 30 minutes of conversation, I really couldn't figure it out. And I went to some different sites, and I just really couldn't figure this out. And because at the end it says, Moshe was satisfied. Aaron answered, even though they offered their sin offering and burnt offering today, things like this just happened to me. If I had eaten the sin offering today, would it have pleased Adonai? Maybe this is Aaron kind of, he's got these two boys are dead, but now he's having to deal with it. He's not allowed, it says, to do not unbind your hair or tear your clothes in mourning so that you won't die. But yet, I mean, he's human. And there's this grieving that's going on inside of him. So I don't really, I can't tell you that I have a real good hold on this, but it appears that there were consequences. Every action that we have has consequences. When we understand that there are consequences to what we do, to how we respond to something, and we need to be very cautious and careful today regarding our response to actions and things that are around us. Now, Moshe in chapter 10, verse 16, it says, "Then Moshe carefully investigated what had happened to the goat of the sin offering." The word here is, I believe it's daraz. I didn't write it down, so please don't quote me specifically on that one. But it is stated twice. It's daraz, or derez, and it is translated by Stern as carefully investigated, but it would be better translated probably of he searchingly searched. Now, here's the interesting part. If you have a complete Jewish Bible, between the word careful and investigated, which would be the center of derez, is the middle of the Torah. Okay? The middle of the Torah. Now we're going to have something different in just a moment, but this is the words. If we come together in the words, this is a center, a searching and a searching on each side. And what does that tell you? That there's nothing in the scripture, in the Torah, specifically what we're talking about today, that is just there by chance. And that we are to searchingly search it out, knowing that there is a limit to our searching. But what are we searching? Okay, he's searching about an animal, a sacrifice. Who are the sacrifices pointing to? The work of Messiah. So it's not just that we are to searchingly search out the details of every jot and tittle and letter and word and Hebrew pronunciation and all of those things. But here's my definition of this, that we are to searchingly search for the Messiah in the midst of his words. That we are to find the person of Messiah. Something was there and now it has disappeared. And Moshe spent time searchingly searching for it. For the most part, when we look at, again, please understand what I'm saying. I think most of you will understand that. For the most part, Judaism is not searching for Yeshua in the Torah. Now, I could explain myself on that one. I'm not going to take the time. Judaism, and this is, I'm wading out here into very deep water that's pretty murky. Judaism is looking for a lifestyle of rules and regulations within the Torah, and that's great. Okay? It says instructions. So I'm not taking anything away. But when those rules and regulations are void of the person, then I feel like it is also void of the life that is within those rules, regulations, instructions, words, and letters. It is, behold, I'm coming. In the scroll the book is written of me, Psalm 40, verse 7 and 8. It is that premise that I go into the scripture with every time I open the book. On the other hand, Christianity, it said, well, the Torah is done away with. So it is that there is a revelation of the Messiah that is to be offered, that we are to search out. But religion has tried to hide that revelation. I'll give you that to just think about for a while. Chapter 11. This is one, we love this one, okay? Now, this is not talking about that which is kosher. That may surprise you. And we cannot actually, truly, we actually should not say biblically kosher either, because that actually is a kind of a detrimental term toward what Judaism sees as kosher. Okay, of course, Judaism in kosher dietary laws goes through what is clean and unclean in Leviticus chapter 11, but then takes it to a different level. So kosher is about the rabbinic slaughtering of an animal. Okay, I don't have any problem with that. My issue with that is that you can also, I know that you can buy meat that is full of stuff. Now, you can buy meat that's good, that's organic, that's antibiotic free and everything, yeah. But you can also buy meat that's filled with garbage, and as long as it is, this is my understanding, as long as it's killed in a kosher manner, that it's kosher. Well, even though it may be kosher, it may not be good for you. All right, and then we get into the milk and dairy issues. That's all having to do with kashrut, with the kosher dietary requirements. That's not what Leviticus 11 is talking about. It is, but it isn't. Leviticus chapter 11 is teaching us what is clean and what is not clean. Period. It is telling us what is food and what is not food. So when you go over into the renewed covenant, to the right of Malachi, and you see the word food, you cannot redefine that word. Okay, if you go to, we were in South Korea, and there's places you can go and get dog. Okay, I've said it many times. I love my puppy. I've never looked at Kaya and thought, how is this going to taste with Heinz 57 on it? No, I don't do that. Why? Because that's not food. It's not biblically defined as food. Neither is a pig. Neither is an oyster. Neither is an oyster egg, as was talked about this weekend. If you didn't see that, I'm sorry. Those things are just not food. So when you get over to the renewed covenant, you can't just take the word. Everything is sanctified by the word of God and prayer. Our prayer cannot change the word. So if it is not declared food in Leviticus chapter 11, it can't be declared food anywhere else unless it is your traditions, which, I was there. I mean, I used to love shrimp. It disgusts me now, but, I got some good friends that are newer in this walk, and they were like, well, I guess, there goes the Easter ham. Yeah, I mean, what an offense. Think about it. What an offense to the message of the resurrection than to have an Easter ham. It's kind of taking it to a new in-your-face level, isn't it? Now, so this is what is clean and unclean. Okay, got it? Then we go on, and in chapter 11, we see not the middle of the words, but the middle of the letters of the Torah. And the middle of the letters are in chapter 11, verse 42. Whatever moves on its stomach goes on all fours, or as many legs. So it is translated as, it should be translated as whatever moves on its belly. Now, in the middle of the word belly is the word gahon, which is I can't even pronounce that one. It is a gimel, make sure I get it right, a ket, a vav, and a final nun. Let you play with that one however you want. In the center of that word is a vav, which is the connector, okay? So once again, everything prior to, everything after, everything is connected. But everything is connected how? It is connected because the written Torah, listen to me carefully, the written Torah was never to be. What were the clean and unclean rules, instructions of the garden? Eat of that tree, don't eat of that tree. According to Proverbs chapter 3, verse 18, the Torah is as the tree of life. So if Adam and Eve specifically, then Adam, who did not protect his wife, why is she talking to the serpent? Adam, I can't go there today. But if she had not talked to the serpent, and he had not allowed her to talk to the serpent, the written Torah would have never been, because it would have been consumed from the tree of life. So the instructions given were given in eternal format, not on a page, not with paper and ink. We were to eat of the Torah. That's why it says that I will, in the renewed covenant, I will put my Torah upon your heart, which everything that we consume, and I had a good friend of mine that explained to me more about the functions of the heart, which was overwhelming, of how the heart literally is a picture of the book of Leviticus. And I've got to spend more time with that, of how it brings in and then it sends out, and it's separating the center of the heart is separating the clean and the unclean. Yeah. So we see in this that he was to play everything we put into our body eventually goes through the heart, because it goes into our bloodstream, which is going to go to the heart, which is going to send it to the organs to be, or take it from, I don't know, I'm not, again, I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So everything is going to be about the heart. So he's going to put the Torah back upon our heart where it belonged in the first place, and where it should have never gotten out of, except for the fact that Adam and Eve did not eat according to clean and unclean. So is it important? Yes. And why is that? Because of the serpent. Because the one who today, it says, crawls on his belly. Now, please don't take that allegory too far. But in the center of the Torah is the serpent. And a reminder to us that that which is detestable to the Almighty should be detestable to us. He is what we are involved in today is detestable to us as it is to him. Quickly, I found it interesting. I was talking to Kathy about this, that this year there's 2 different kinds of cicadas coming out of the ground at the same time. Hadn't happened in hundreds of years, I guess it is, 200 and something years. And that's this month in April, once again. I don't know. But, we've had cicadas before. My dog can't stand it. This is going to be a bad year for we got to get some of the tranquilizer stuff for Kaya. It's natural, don't worry. But she won't even go outside. Why? Because of the noise, the chaos. What's it going to be when 2 different breeds of cicadas come forth? The crawling things. It's going to be noise and chaos. And all of that is caused by the serpent. But all the noise and the chaos should make us yearn for the 8th day. And that's what my choice is today. So with that, Shabbat Shalom, Shavua Tov. Have a blessed, prosperous week. Bezrat Hashem, God willing. See you again next week. Until then, well, if I see you again next week, and if I don't, you need to do this anyway. Be strong.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmarecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.